Welcome to the Sports Card Lessons Podcast. I'm your host, Big Ken. Whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on a streaming service, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified whenever I drop any new content. Welcome. Thanks for being here. We have another early Sunday morning football game today. So, another Sunday morning multitasking, getting this podcast together, watching some football. Love these Sunday mornings, but early morning football games. First off, sorry about the sound. My microphone has been flaky when I'm recording. There's something going on with it. So, and when I'm recording with somebody else, it's fine because they could say we can't hear you. But when I'm by myself, I'm afraid I'm going to get through this. It's going to stop working. I'm going to have to re-record. So you're getting the built-in microphone today, and I'll have a new microphone moving forward. Some program notes before we start. I'm going to be traveling for the next 2 weeks, so you'll get a recorded episode of the Hobby Chop on Wednesday, and at some point along my journey, you'll get an episode from me. I'm hoping to find some card shops along the way to, just have some fun content to bring you while I'm traveling. Some breaking news in the hobby this week. I received a press release Wednesday from Whatnot regarding repacking. So I'm gonna share that with you really quick. It says with professionally sealed and repacked products continuing to grow in popularity within the hobby, Whatnot's policy establishes new guidelines to designed to bring more transparency around product information and create the most trustworthy experience for buyers. The key elements of the new policy include identified product list requirements. All professionally sealed surprise products must be included on Whatnot's identified product list to be sold. Manufacturer verification. To be eligible for the list, manufacturers will need to demonstrate they have processes and controls to ensure product details are accurate and transparent. In some cases, they may need to work with an independent auditor to review their manufacturing practices. Restrictions on seller involvement. Sellers cannot create these products or hold any non-public knowledge about the contents of professionally sealed surprise products. Product checklist. Independent auditors will review the manufacturers have publicly available checklist available for each series of their sealed products or repacks. These checklists will give buyers more transparency into what they are purchasing. And then on Thursday, since I'm reading, I might as well just continue on. On Thursday, there was an article in the New York Times regarding repacks, and I just want to read a quote from this that I thought was really interesting. It says, so they're talking with Courtyard. What's it? Courtyard IO. It says, so if you spend $1 million on Courtyard and you can prove it because of the blockchain, you get 1 million of cards on average because of the law of probability at the end of the day, Lejeune said. We see it for some of our top users. I believe breaking has a core component, but I believe this, and he's talking about Courtyard's model of claiming buyers break even on average, kind of disrupts the breaking industry in that sense. Many repackers selling cards without stated values for specific cards provided to buyers sometimes run into issues where cards won in a break can fall well below the advertised floor or ceiling price. So interesting. They're telling us their odds or the laws of average. If you spend enough, if your pockets are deep enough, and this is what I get from it, I may be wrong, I may be reading this wrong, but if my pockets are deep enough, sooner or later I'm going to break even, right? But if I go in and buy one this week and one next week and one next month, the laws of average will state that I may just keep losing, right? That I'll never break even. I used to say that at the casino all the time, that I felt that if your pockets were deep enough and you stayed long enough, you could hit a run and you could either break even or get ahead. And I can tell you, since COVID, that is not the fact anymore. Uh, so I would not believe I would not believe that I am going to be able to break even if I keep buying these packs. I started thinking this week, is this the bone the hobby is throwing for all the legitimate online sales, right? To keep the regulations out of the shows where it's still a hobby for, I mean, it's still a hobby for a lot of people, but it's also a business for a lot of people. And is all that money that's moving online make these shows seem so small and not worth trying to bring transparency to? Just a thought there. I think one thing for sure, I think changes are coming when we see what's happening with Whatnot now, and we see articles in the New York Times. There's definitely some changes coming. They're bringing this to a, this hobby and what we're doing in this hobby, to people outside of the hobby, regulators and things like that. And I definitely think we're going to see some changes coming. I talked back in June about going to Fanatics Fest in New York City, and I brought some cards along, mostly WNBA older cards, like 1998 to 2005, all graded. Cards that I had been bringing to shows, putting in my cases, kind of realized I was just taking up space in the case. Um, I want to say there wasn't a lot of interest, but people were super happy to see the cards in the cases, but nobody was really in the market to buy them. So when I went to Fanatics Fest, I brought all these cards, I put them in the vault. Uh, and every week or so, I put a card up for sale, up for auction on their weekly auction. They seem to do pretty well. I mean, some I expected to get more for, and I didn't, and some I didn't expect to get much for, and I got more for it. So I think it's kind of all evening out. Fast forward to last Sunday, a higher end Juju Watkins card was up for sale. That honestly, I would have never bid on it, except for I had this credit from selling all these other cards, right? That I sold. And it's the old level up story or the trade up, right? I'll give you 10 100 cards for that $1,000 card. But in this case, it can work, right? It's not like I'm showing up to a show and doing this, but in this case, it could work. I keep selling these cards that are, I don't even want to say stale cards, because I think at some point these cards are going to hold more value than they do right now. But for me, it's just cards that I'm looking to move. And when I saw this card, this Juju Watkins card, and actually it's the card's numbered to 10, and I already own one of them, so seeing a second one up there, I'm like, well, I would really like to have this card, right? Um, I thought to myself, I'd really like to bid on this. And if you remember last week's episode, where I'd say I don't take those bigger swings at cards, and you know, I had that same mentality. Now, I recorded that episode Sunday morning talking about, not taking shots and thinking about I should take more shots on bigger cards. Then I had that same thought process Sunday night. And I said, well, wait a minute. I realize I have all this credit on there. Like, why not? Why not take a shot? Let's go. Swing away. Right? uh, so I did buy it. I did buy the card. And I thought to myself, I was trying to calculate, the other cards that I had on there. And I was like, if I was at a show and someone said, hey, I'll take these 5 or 6 cards and give you this Juju, I mean, all day long, I'd be, yes, please, I'll do it. So why not here? Right. So uh I was happy to do it. I bought the card. I left it in my vault. I didn't want to pay the taxes on it. I paid enough on the card as it was. So I figure I'm just leave it there. There's some smaller cards in there that I'm looking at, and if I'm able to get those, I'll just get them all shipped at once. Um, It's interesting with Fanatics how some cards and I think I figured out on Sunday night, like I'll go in there and I'll favorite maybe like 10, 12 cards and just watch them and then either make, if I think the price is right, make bid on them or just let them go. And it's interesting on some of the cards I look at, I'm like, oh, this card's really, it's going to skyrocket it, as soon as the extended bidding comes on, and it never does, and it seems to like slow roll, and I end up in some of these cards and other cards I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just going to wait till that extended bidding, I'm just going to jump on and buy that card quick, and then I go in there and then I'm trying to get it and it just keeps going and going and going and going, and I'm like, you know what, this is crazy. Now it's getting, the price is getting to a point it just makes no sense to buy the card. So to me, there's no rhyme or reason why some of those go up, some of them don't. I know people are yelling at your radio or your computer saying they're being shilled. I mean, probably. I mean, I have cards on there. I'm not shilling my own cards, right? I have cards on there, and I'm hoping. And I saw a card that I had, was it last week or 2 weeks ago, that I expected that card to sell for maybe $60 or $70, and it went to extended bidding at $58, and the card ended up ending at like 129. That two people just kept, and I think it was two people just kept putting a bid every 5 minutes. Somebody put a bid, somebody put a bid, somebody put a bid. So if I was watching that, if I was looking at that, I would say, and I was interested in that card, I would be like, oh, somebody's shilling that card, or that card's going for too much. But I watched that happen with my own card, right? And another card that I'm like, oh, people are going to start fighting over this card and all that. And extended bidding, 5 minutes, it was done. Nobody ever bid it, bid on that card. So there's really no rhyme or reason to what happens there. And I'm not, obviously I'm not sponsored by them, but I seem to get, when it was PWCC, I used to talk about it. A year or two ago, I used to buy a lot of cards on there because I was getting decent deals on those cards. And then I just felt like things changed on there before they switched hands, that you couldn't buy any cards, no matter what I went on to bid on. I was not getting it. It just extended bidding was just going up and up. So I just stopped and I got away from it. Now that I've been back into it, I think that I've been getting some decent deals, and I've been happy with them. And a lot of the stuff that I buy, it's for down the road. It's not to be flipped this week or next week. So I'm happy if I can get into them at the right price. I did talk about some of these PSA orders that have been sitting at PSA since last spring. And in this past week, I not all of them, because I think there's 9. I think there's still 2 more orders out there, but 7 of those orders that were shipped to PSA over the period of over 2 months, they all popped within a 24-hour period this week. Um, And I'm embarrassed to say 2 of those orders, and I think I talked about this already. 2 of those orders were mostly Don Russ football. And you think I would be excited getting a bunch of PSA 10s and even 9s. I mean, 9s, it's like if you're not first, you're last, especially on the Don Russ, or that's the way it was. But now I don't even think it matters. Uh, at this point, I think it's just been a complete loss on getting these cards graded. Um, had they come back in 30 or 45 days, which I felt PSA had been doing in the spring, I probably could have done well in them at the National and West Coast card show. But coming now in October, I don't even have them back. I won't even have them back for another week or two, right? So yeah, definitely just I think a complete loss on those. And which is even worse, adding insult to injury, PSA putting offers on these cards. Oh, here you got your grades here. We're making offers on the card, $16, $13, $18. Come on, man. You didn't even want to cover your own grading charge. Oh, it's I don't know these. I don't know what's going to happen with these cards. but you know you can't stop now. It's they're paid for. They'll be on their way back. And you know what's different too is there's no way, like you used to be able to, they say, oh, your order completed and your credit card got charged, right? And it's okay, like if you don't look it up on the computer, because PSA used to ship that within 12, 14 hours when that's said. And it was you could have within 2 to 3 days, you could have that box of cards. So it wasn't like you were waiting a long time and you're like, oh, I'm just going to wait, I'll be surprised, I'm going to open it up to see, right? And there's no waiting anymore on that because there's offers available. They're holding the cards 24 hours. Go look at your offers. Maybe you want to sell some back. And I talked about that a couple of weeks ago. I sold some cards back to them. Nothing on these orders or the price point that they're offering that I'm going to send back to them. I did have, on the upside, the downside was the Don Russ debacle, right? But on the upside, I had 125 card order. It was a Bowman Chrome U basketball, all women. That got out of 25 cards, I got 24 PSA 10s and one PSA 8. So that was definitely the highlight of these 7 orders that popped. And one of the things that I'm really starting to notice is PSA is not only grading the card, but the population control on the player is really becoming so obvious right now. I noticed on a lot of my WNBA basketball cards that I sent in for grading, players not named Caitlin Clark, I would get a lot of 10s on. Any of those Caitlin Clark cards, if I sent 10 of those in, I'm lucky to get 1 or 2 10s and the rest, 7s, 8s, 9s, that type of thing. And it just seems like population control on that. And now I've noticed with college basketball cards, players not named Paige Beckers get a lot more 10s. So one of these orders that I had sent in was the WNBA draft night. The draft night cards. So I had picked up 10 cards of 10 players, the 10 players in the draft. Sent them all in for grading. 9 of the players were either all PSA 10s or 9 PSA 10s and 1 9, right? Paige Beckers, 5 and 5, right? All the cards, every card looked just as good as the next. Every player looked just as good as the next. But hers got cut in half, 5 and 5. And yeah, definitely think there's something there with these grading the top players, and the population control. And speaking of grading, the latest gem rate monthly report indicated SGC graded fewer total cards than Beckett for the first time in the last 3 years, falling to 4th among the major card graders. I think I had something else. Yeah, it's right here. So gem rate. So for September, PSA graded 1.55 million cards. CGC graded 505,000 cards. Beckett graded 77,000 cards. SGC 60,000 cards. So there's definitely 1.5 million, and the next is 505,000, and then Beckett 77. But I think Beckett CGC and Beckett are definitely up month over month and year over year. I mean, CGC year over year is up 248%. So there's definitely a big push on CGC. And I'm just going to go out on a limb here, but I'm sure a lot of it has to do with with Pokemon. Beckett's up 20% month over month and 67% year over year. So, and I know people want. I mean, I think people want somebody to compete with PSA. Like they want to push PSA just to be better, right? I don't know if I could say it any differently than that, but yeah, hopefully, you know, the grading quality, right? There's definitely something going on. And here I just got 10, 24 out of 25 10s, but they were all players that are not, right? That are not mainstream names yet. So I think that's okay. I think in those cards, if there were some Juju Watkins, Caitlin Clark, Paige Beckers, I don't think I'm getting 24 out of 25 10s. I really don't, and I think that's why you heard Zip and I talk on the Hobby Chop about, it's amazing that they say that the Bowman U Chrome, their gem rate is so high, and that's why I just started sending some of those cards in. I was really been picky about those cards that I was sending. I'm like super picky. And then I'm like, well, wait a minute. Do I need to be this picky if this gem rate is that high? So sending these cards in, a lot of them are gemming. And I just have a feeling that it just really has to do with the popularity of the player. And, the card's the card, right? So I had some recent pickups that I'll share with you. Stuff that's coming. I've got a ton of stuff coming in. I'm waiting on it to come in. Besides the PSA orders, but some of my recent pickups I'll share. This was Cameron Brink logo Prism PSA 10. Michaela Blake's. These are two identical cards. These are the Sapphire PSA 10s. Sarah Strong, Bowman U Black and White Stealth Refractor Auto, number to 48, PSA 10. And Silas Swords, Bowman U Sapphire Gold, number to 50, PSA 10. So yeah, now ramping up, getting ready. I've been talking about it. These are the types of cards I've been picking up. Slowing down a little bit, though, too. Slowing down. I'm noticing that the prices are already on the rise on like Silas Swords and Sarah Strong. They've always been up. Michaela Blake's cards prices are coming up, and I think it's the play right now. I do. I think it's for me, for my lane, for what I'm doing. I think it's the play moving into December, January, February, that type of thing. I haven't talked about a show because I really haven't been to a show. I've got some shows coming up in November. I still have my football that I didn't sell off, in the summer like I'd hoped to. I have football coming back, so great place. Hopefully, I'll be able to sell that Don Russ stuff, and I have other football coming back too. But the nothing as disappointing as as the Don Russ stuff. So yeah, then I'll be able to move into the winter. After the new year, selling off the heading into March Madness, and because this way, if Bowman doesn't release the Bowman Chrome U basketball stuff delayed again, this stuff already graded will be definitely, and it's all first Bowmans too. I mean, that's the important part, I think, too. All these first Bowmans on all these top players right now. So that's it. I'm going to be traveling. I'm leaving tomorrow morning, and I will be on the road. But Wednesday, you're going to get an episode a taped one from Zip and I in the hobby shop. We got a great guest, so going to keep it a surprise. Look forward to that, and I'll be back at some point next weekend with another episode for you. I want to thank everyone for tuning in, and if you like what you hear, please definitely subscribe. Most importantly, tell a friend and spread the word. Until next time, take care of yourselves and everyone around you.